In the realm of the Nazis, nothing was despised more than betrayal. Imagine turning your back on your own country and cozying up to the crafty enemy. It was beyond outrageous. Now, enter Admiral Canaris, a smart cookie who dared to do just that. Why? Well, because he couldn't stomach how Hitler was steering the ship with all the terrible stuff going down like the Holocaust. Plus, he had this sneaky feeling that the war was a lost cause from the get-go. Although he played the role of guardian angel for the German opposition against Hitler, but he was also the mastermind behind all the big schemes to expand Hitler's power and the Third Reich. So, what led this high-ranking admiral to flip sides? How did he manage to deceive the Nazi bigwigs? What did he see that others missed? And why was he hanged twice? Watch the video to find out. Born on January 1, 1887 in Applerbeck, which is now part of Dortmund, Canaris had a pretty posh childhood. His family was all about smart jobs like engineering and law, and they lived in a fancy place with its own park and tennis court. When he was in school, Canaris was super smart but preferred to be alone. He often had a thing for spying when he was young, playing with invisible ink and pretending to be a spy. When Canaris went to Greece in 1902, he saw a statue that got him all interested in the Navy. So, after school, he joined the Navy Academy in Kiel. Even though his dad wanted him in the cavalry, Canaris convinced his mom to let him join the Sea Cadets. But here's the twist. Canaris' journey wasn't smooth sailing. He was good at learning in classrooms, but struggled with physical stuff. Still, he powered through and got promoted in 1906. He sailed on a giant ship, SMS Bremen, around South and Central America, learning lots of languages like Spanish, English, French, and a bit of Russian. Canaris' life kept getting interesting. He impressed the president in Venezuela and even helped evacuate people during a civil war in Mexico. But just as he thought things might calm down, World War I started, and Canaris' ship, the Dresden, became a hunter of other ships. So, after Canaris got assigned to the Dresden ship, they headed to the Rio de la Plata, a big river area. Here's where it gets really interesting. The Dresden sank 2 English cargo ships during this time, but the Dresden faced its own set of problems. When World War I started, communication between the Dresden and the Navy headquarters broke down. Plus, the ship didn't have much coal left, and getting more was tough. But guess what? Canaris' secret network of informants, the V-Men, came to the rescue. They helped the Dresden stay afloat by giving Canaris info about where Allied ships were moving, and German ships supplied them through these V-Men. When Canaris heard that strong British ships were coming, the Dresden sailed to the Pacific Ocean. There, the ship joined forces with other German ships and won a big battle against British ships near Chile. But the good luck didn't last. The commander of the German ships, Graf von Spee, decided to attack the British base on the Falkland Islands. Unfortunately, this plan backfired, and most of the German ships got sunk, except the Dresden. The Dresden managed to hide from the British for a few months. They got some coal and supplies from German ships, but they were almost out of ammo. Eventually, they anchored at a place called Cumberland Bay on an island. They wanted to surrender to Chilean authorities, but before that could happen, the British attacked on March 14, 1915. They forced the Dresden's commander to scuttle, destroy the ship to avoid capture. Canaris and his crew ended up on an island near Concepcion, Chile. But here's where it gets exciting. Canaris wasn't one to sit still. He escaped in August 1915 with help from a local fisherman. He traveled through tough terrain by train and horseback to reach Argentina. Then he got a new identity from the German embassy and hopped on a Dutch steamer to Amsterdam. On October 4, 1915, he finally made it back to Germany. Canaris' knack for spying caught the eye of the German Naval Intelligence Service. They thought he'd be a great addition, so he joined them. He was sent to Spain in November 1915 with interesting spy tasks, setting up supply systems for submarines and building a spy network. Canaris did pretty well in Spain. He got Spanish shipyards to build submarines and gathered info on enemy ships. But after a while, he wasn't so into the spy stuff anymore. He wanted to switch to torpedo units. It's rumored that enemy spies tried to kill him, but there aren't many details about that. In September 1916, Canaris finally got back to Germany on a submarine. He was awarded the Iron Cross and promoted to Capitan Lieutenant zur See for his work in Spain. He commanded submarines and sank British ships during World War I. But when the war ended, Germany was in a mess. There was a lot of chaos, and Canaris even got involved in suppressing uprisings. He helped put down a rebellion in Berlin and played a role in some controversial actions. In the post-war years, Canaris continued his journey in the German Navy. He got involved in some shadowy activities, supporting a radical right-wing group and participating in secret missions. But his career had its ups and downs, and he faced accusations from time to time. Things changed for Canaris when he was appointed as the head of the Abwehr, the German military secret service. This was a big move for him, and he had his share of challenges, including his appearance and leadership style. He preferred being out in the field rather than behind a desk, and he even got to meet General Francisco Franco during the Spanish Civil War. In the early 1930s, Germany was in a state of political and economic turmoil. Adolf Hitler, a charismatic yet dangerous figure, capitalized on the country's vulnerability and leveraged his populist message to ascend to power in 1933. Hitler's rapid rise marked the beginning of a brutal regime that would inflict suffering on an unprecedented scale. Initially, Canaris aligned himself with Hitler's regime, working to bolster the capabilities of the Abwehr to serve the interests of the nation. The Abwehr's role expanded to encompass espionage, counterintelligence, and covert operations. As Hitler sought to strengthen Germany's military might, Canaris and his team gathered crucial information and protected Germany's strategic interests. However, as time went on, Canaris grew increasingly troubled by the direction in which Hitler was taking the country. The Nazi regime's actions, including the suppression of civil rights and the construction of concentration camps, raised alarm bells for Canaris. These concerns led him to initiate secret conversations with like-minded individuals who shared his apprehensions about Hitler's radical agenda. Together, they formed a clandestine network aimed at stopping Hitler and preventing further atrocities. In the midst of World War II, Canaris and his co-conspirators attempted several coups against Hitler. These efforts, known collectively as the July 20 Plot or the Stauffenberg Plot, aimed to assassinate Hitler and overthrow the Nazi regime. However, the attempts failed, and the conspirators were swiftly rounded up by the Gestapo. Canaris' involvement in the plot was revealed, leading to his arrest and subsequent trial for treason. The trial took place in a court dominated by judges loyal to Hitler's ideology. Despite the mounting evidence against him, Canaris remained steadfast. He argued that his loyalty was to Germany and its people, not to the warped vision propagated by the Nazi regime. As the trial progressed, Heinrich Himmler's successor, Ernst Kaltenbrunner, intervened. He ordered Canaris to be taken from his cell to the prison courtyard for a discussion. Kaltenbrunner hoped to exploit Canaris' knowledge of classified information that could be potentially used against the Allies. However, Canaris refused to divulge any information, demonstrating his unwavering commitment to his principles. Frustrated by Canaris' resilience, Kaltenbrunner resorted to torture. For days, Canaris endured physical and psychological torment, yet he refused to break. This marked a turning point for Kaltenbrunner, revealing the depths of his cruelty and sadism. In a final act of brutality, Kaltenbrunner ordered Canaris to be hanged, only to have the rope cut after a few seconds of suffocation. This horrific process was repeated, prolonging Canaris' agony. Kaltenbrunner callously taunted Canaris, asking if he had glimpsed the taste of death during those brief moments. Even in the face of unimaginable suffering, Canaris did not yield. His defiance persisted until the end. On April 9, 1945, Admiral Wilhelm Canaris was hanged for the second and final time. His refusal to yield to torture and his unwavering commitment to his principles left behind a legacy of courage and integrity that continues to inspire those who value the fight against tyranny and oppression. Now, we would like to hear from you. What are your thoughts about Canaris' character, his decisions, and the legacy he left behind? Do you believe he was genuinely involved in resistance efforts, or do you lean towards the view that he was more of an opportunist? Please share your insights and thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel to stay updated on more compelling episodes of military history. Together, let's continue to learn.